गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. In the Sambandha Bhashya that we did in the last class, there who was the adhikari was told, for whom is the text that is written or the shlokas are given, and it was told he is the mumukshu. Please put your audios off. Again. So who is adhikari? Adhikari in English means qualified. Who is qualified to study this text? For whom this text has been told? Is it for one and all? Is it for Tom, Dick and Harry? Is it for someone who is lost in karma? Is it for a person who has the arrogance? Is it for the person who thinks that until I don't do it, things don't happen? Is it for such a person? Is it for a devotee of a god? Is it for a person who does puja, havan, etc.? Is it for a person who is in the family and only lost in in the relations? No. This text is meant for that person, and the qualification of that person is mumukshu. Mumukshu means one who is intensely desirous of liberation. He has sorted all that out. Whatever, all that list that I gave, he has already sorted that out. And he has come that I don't know. I don't want to get, I know that all this I have done, but it has not given me what I am seeking. That is salvation. That is eternal peace and tranquility. See? So he has already sorted all that out. So such is the adhikari. Then second part we saw was, what is the Vishaya? What is the subject matter of this text? The subject matter is the Brahma Jnanam, and Brahma Jnanam meaning that knowledge, Jnanam, knowledge of Brahma. So Brahma, what is Brahma? Brahma is that infinite reality which is inclusive of everything. Nothing is outside it. As was told in the mantra, Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Avashishyate. That is Brahman. In simple words, that is simple words, but yet another way of putting it, Brahman is that, like the space, which allows everything to express, but itself is independent of everything that it is allowing to express within its womb. So it seems space is separate to everything that it is within its womb. Air, fire, water, earth, which it allows to express, it seems space and these four elements are separate. That is the fault of our vision. That is the fault of our vision. Space is all inclusive. If space is not there, air, fire, water, earth, human beings, plants, animals, aushadhi, nothing can exist. See? It accommodates. That is the definition of space. Same way, this reality, this Brahma is Brihatat Brahma, the larger than the largest principle. And that is and in yoga they call it Paramatma. In devotion they call it Ishvara. See? But here we will talk about next verse. Today's first verse is about Ishvara only. But our understanding of Ishvara is also upside down. So we will see. And at the personal level, at the individual level, that same Brahma is expressing as Atma, as the self. Which self? Not the father, mother, daughter, sister. Not the man and woman, employee, etc. Then which one? That one who knows that the waking, dream and deep sleep are coming and going every day. That one. That is the Atma. That Atma without which the life as you know it will no longer express. See? That Atma. So Vishaya is that Brahma Jnanam, and we have to recognize. What do we have to recognize? That Brahma which is pervading the entire creation is none other than the self that I am. Not self within me, not inside me. No, the self I am. And this how you have to recognize it? Without thinking. My God. Are you trying to take us for a ride, sir? First you say that which is impossible, then you say that another impossibility that you have to realize this without thinking. I think I should stop. I will go for somewhere. There it is. Sorry. Where it is. Where it is easy for me. What is easy for me? Taking the name of the Lord is easy for me. Lighting the lamp is easy for me. Going for pilgrimage is easy for me. Someone touching me on my head is easy for me. I don't have to do anything. Mumukshu. Once I was in Haridwar, staying in an ashram, and I met one person, and he wanted to experience Nirvikalpa Samadhi, and he met a master, and the master took him through secret passages to not Himalayas, to Kailash, to Tibet, and there in one cave, he says, now tell me what you want. He says, I want Nirvikalpa Samadhi. He says, given. He touched his head. For 6 years, that boy, 19-year-old boy, for 6 years he was in Nirvikalpa Samadhi. And his Nirvikalpa Samadhi broke when the master was breathing his last. So his Sankalpa had put him into Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Not the students or disciples' qualification took him there. No. See? And from that day, then when he came back to India, after his teacher took Samadhi, from that day till I met him, he was searching how to get into Nirvikalpa Samadhi. See the stupidity. We have to be qualified. It is not borrowed from someone. It is not that you will get it as prasad from somewhere. You have to understand the meaning of prasad or grace also. We are so obsessed with objectivity that prasad also means some sugar, some milk, this. We can't see that we are in the middle of the prasad. We are made up of the prasad, of the grace. That vision has to be brought about. That will be the topic of the first verse, Vishaya. Then Prayojanam, what will be the result of this study of this Upanishad? It will be moksha. You will be liberated. Liberation what? Liberation from, liberation not of I. When you say liberation of I, you get Nirvikalpa Samadhi. In Nirvikalpa Samadhi, you are free from I. In deep sleep also you are free from I to a large extent. No. But next day again I comes up. After Samadhi also the I comes up. I can do this, I can do that. I went into Nirvikalpa Samadhi. I had this experience, I had that experience. I experienced ecstasy, I heard Om, I heard this, I heard that. No. So, what do we want? Moksha means what? Moksha means freedom from I. Freedom from Aham. We don't want to free Aham. We want freedom from Aham. That is moksha. For that, some shift in our thinking has to happen. Because the thinking that we are having right now is not serving us. It is again and again bringing us to the same stalemate. Check. Without delivering the bliss that our nature is. And then the fourth part that we saw, because remember what was the topic? Sambandha Bhashya. So the last was Sambandha. What is the relationship? And the relationship is that in what way, what was told was, in what way is this text connected to my seeking, to my pursuit, to my moksha? That is the Sambandha. Sambandha of the Adhikari, the Vishaya and the Prayojanam. These three, what is the relationship? It is not a concept that we are studying. We have to apply it on ourselves. That am I a mumukshu? Am I a seeker of liberation? Am I interested in Brahma Jnanam, knowledge of the infinite? Am I interested? Am I interested in the result called liberation? Am I? Is there an urgency within my heart and mind to seek liberation, to be liberated? That is the Sambandh. And in this way, so if all these things, if liberation has not happened to us already, then this text can be, maybe, for a qualified student, and a vehicle to sort out this mess which is keeping us in the individuality. And in this way, this problem of whatever we have just said, that will be sorted out by pursuing this text. So with that background, now we enter Sarvatra Bhagavad Drishti. So this is now the proper Upanishad begins. You can repeat after me if you want. Om Ishavasimidagam Sarvam. Om Ishavasimidagam Sarvam. Yatkincha Jagatyam Jagat. Yatkincha Jagatyam Jagat. Tena Tyaktena Bhunjithaha. Tena Tyaktena Bhunjithaha. Ma grudha kasya svidhanam. Ma grudha kasya svidhanam. Together. Om Ishavasyamidagam sarvam. Yatkincha Jagatyam Jagat. Tena Tyaktena Bhunjithaha. Ma grudha kasya svidhanam. So just in short, and then we go into the Bhashya. Om Ishavasyam Idagang Sarvam. Everything in this world and everything in this sansar. And what is this sansar made up of? Sentient and insentient, inert and conscious, living and non-living. Everything is pervaded by the Isha, by the Ishvara. It is covered, it is pervaded from outside, from inside. Every bit of it is pervaded by the Ishwar, Isha. Then Yat Kincha Jagatyam Jagat. And Tena Tyaktena Bhunjithaha Ma Grudha Kasya Siddhanam. And if one practices the Nivritti Marg, or one tries to give up his obsession, if one Tena Tyaktena, if one gives up the obsession to experience the world the way they are experiencing at this moment. How you are experiencing the world? That I am a part of this world, that this world was before I was born, this world will be after I am dead. I am this body, and all other people and objects of this world are outside me, separate to me. In other words, in one simple sentence, there is a sense of otherness. Everything is separate to me, isn't it? This is the wrong vision of the world. Now what has to be done? Here it is told, Tena Tyaktena, give up this vision. Tyage naike amritatva manashu. Na karmana na prajaya dhanena tyage naike amritatva manashu. Tyage naike amrit. Give up this obsession. And what is the obsession in short? Anyway, I'm going too much. When we go into the Bhashya, we'll see it. So, give up this obsession with the world and do not covet other people's wealth. If a lady sees some sari, where did you get this? What is this? Banarsi silk, Paithani, this, that. I want. Oh, very nice color. I also want one. And man, he goes around. Hey, are those Italian shoes or Boss shoes? Oh, very nice shoes, very nice shoes. Where did you buy it? How much did you pay for it? Can we get it in China? If a kid wants only games, cycle, computer. Whatever he sees that he doesn't have and someone else is that, he has a desire for it. So do not covet other people's wealth. Do not desire other people's wealth. In other words, don't be a Duryodhan in your life. Now, with this overall understanding of the mantra, now Shankaracharya, he takes each word, Isha, Vasyam, Jagatyam, Yatkincha, Jagatyam, Jagatena Tyaktena, Bhunjithaha, Ma Grudha. Every word will be looked into and just enjoy. Don't try to work out too much. What does it say? What does it write? What is written in Hindi? Can I understand the Sanskrit? If you understand, good. By the end of the text, you will probably start catching. I will also start catching. See? So, enjoy. That's all. Important thing is our interaction with the Upanishad should be out of the disposition of joy. Because what is being talked about is about us, about the Atma. It is not being talked about anyone else. It's a subjective approach that is required. Joyful. So here he says in the first para of the Bhashya, Isha Ishta iti Eeta Tenesha. Ishita Parameshwaraha Paramatma Sarvasya. So here he says that Isha is the root, and the root of this Isha is eat, and this eat means controller, and the third person singular of it is Ishita, and therefore Isha, and that is the what you call understanding of the word Isha, and the original word of it is Ishita, and therefore it means controller. How is he a controller? He is the controller by being the self of everything. He is the controller by being the Atma, self of everything. And not only everything, everything and every being. Just like you are the life, you think you are alive right now. You are the life which is the inner controller of every limb, every organ, every cell in your body is pervaded by that life. Is there one life per organ? Is there one life per cell? Or is it one life pervading the entire? Answer this question to yourself. And if the answer is one per, then you are not qualified for this this Upanishad. Then do a little bit of more drama out there in the world and then come back. But if your conclusion is that it is one life which is pervading all the cells of of this body, exactly the same way, Isha is the life, is the Atma of the entire world. He is expressing in and through everything that is Jad and Chetan. How does he express through everything as Jad and Chetan? As Sat, Chit and Anand. In the Jad, he is Sat. In the animals, he is Sat and Chit. And in human beings, he is Sat, Chit and Anand. See? This is how he controls. If this Atma is taken out of this body, can these cells survive in the body? No. They will all go back. Space will go. The space occupied by each organ will go back to the space. The air will go back to the air. Fire will go back to fire. Water will go back to water. Earth will merge back into the earth. Dust to dust. Exactly the same way. This Isha, he is the inner controller of the entire Jagatyam Jagat, entire universe, entire creation, both sentient and insentient, Jad and or Chetan and Jad. And another way of understanding this controller, Isha, means you have to understand that he is the Nimitta Karan of the samsara and he is the Upadan Karan of the samsara. Now these are two technical terms. Normally human beings do not think in this manner. And that is where the problem comes, because we have never been exposed to this. Only when we have become frustrated enough living this world, not finding the bliss that we are seeking, not finding a one solution for all, for everything. Is there a way? Yes, there is a way. You don't have to find solution for every problem. No, one solution for everything. In fact, once you find it, there will be no problems only after that. Won't that be a beautiful, worthy goal to seek? That is called mumukshutva. And when you get there, it is called moksha. When you become problem free, meaning now you become problem for others. Meaning what? You are unconcerned whether food coming or not coming, you are not worried. किसी ने खिला दिया तो खा लिया, किसी ने नहीं खिलाया तो नहीं खाया, किसी ने बुला लिया तो चले गए, किसी ने नहीं बुलाया तो नहीं गए. He is totally at peace as he is, where he is, how he is. Now it's other people's problem. That is why it is called, Mahatmas are called Balavat. We have to take care of them. So in other words, he becomes a problem for others. Before the others, the world was becoming a problem for him. That is only in jest, okay? Only jokingly I am saying that. He doesn't become a problem. He is embodiment of auspiciousness and blessings. A person who attains moksha. A person who is abiding in his Atma as Atma, he is a blessing. Ishita Parmeshwarah Paramatma Sarvasya. Sarvasya all over. How is he all over? Nimitta Karan and Upadan Karan. Nimitta Karan, Upadan Karan. See, Nimitta Karan we understand. Nimitta means Lord is the creator, Ishvara is the creator, Paramatma is controlling everything. We understand this one. And I have been talking about it till now. That he is the inner controller, he is the controller of everything. But this second part, Upadan Karan, we do not even by mistake think of it like that. And what is Upadan Karan? That the material out of which the creation has been created by him is also, that material is called Isha. So the controller is Isha, and the material out of which the creation has been created, which he is controlling, is also Isha. Now you think, do you have anything in your life where you have experience like that? You always give, you appropriate that Indra has created this, or Hanuman ji ki jai, or Shyavara Ramachandra ki jai, Pavanasuta Hanuman ki jai, bolo bhai sab santan ki jai. We are giving the credit to someone or the other all the time. And that someone or the other, whether it is Ram or Sita or Krishna or Radha or Hanuman or Narsimha Bhagwan or whoever, whatever God, whichever God, we see him to be separate to us. We see him to be beyond the Jagat. It is a wonderful capacity that the divine has given us, that at least we think that he is the creator and he is the controller, and therefore those who feel he is the creator, he is the controller, papoham papa karmaham, I am sorry I did this, I am sorry I did that, I will atone for it, I will do upas for it. Now Navratri is starting, do upas, cry. No. So this part that he is the controller, we understand. But do you understand that this creation that you are seeing, entire cosmos that you are seeing in the waking world, very close in proximity, the husband or the mother or your son or your daughter or your cat or your dog which is sitting next to you, do you see that person? Do you see the chair on which you are sitting as the material called divine? This is where we go wrong. This is where we go wrong. See, now we are going to talk about it. I am not going to go too much into detail, but these are teasers. So you start, like when you, in India, when we used to have a motorcycle or scooter, we used to have a choke so that it catches the spark. So this is the choke. And then आगे बढ़ाएंगे जैसे जैसे आगे जाएंगे भाष्य में. So Ishita Parmeshwara Paramatma Sarvasya. And this Paramatma is the Nimitta Upadana Karan. He is the creator of the creation and he is the material out of which the creation has been made or has come about. Then Sahi Sarvam Ishte Sarva Jantunam Atma San प्रत्यगात्मतया तेन स्वेन रूपेण आत्मना ईशा वास्यम आच्छादनीयम. So what does he say here? He is saying that Sahi Sarvam Ishte Sarva Jantunam Atma, that the controller of all the beings is this Paramatma or this Isha. And Ishte Sarva Jantunam San Pratyag Atmataya. And how is he controlling every being? By being the Atma or the self of every being. See? This is how he is controlling. If the Atma is not there, waking, dream, deep sleep cannot happen. So what is the Atma of the five senses? What is the Atma of five senses? The mind. What is the Atma of the mind? The intellect. What is the Atma of the intellect? The life, the Chetana. What is the Atma of the Chetana? Is the Atma? Is the self? See? What is the Atma of this electric bulb or this light? What is the Atma of this bulb or the light? It is the electricity. See? So here he says that so our when I'm talking about, when we are talking about the Nimitta Upadan Karan, that Paramatma is the creator of the creation and Paramatma is the material with which the creation is made. This thought is not a part of any religion. This thought, Nimitta Upadan Karan, comes only in the Upanishads. And this is the beauty or uniqueness of the Vedanta. It takes you beyond everything. It delivers you the Paramatma Karamlavat. Karamlavat means as your own direct experience. Now if the entire creation is nothing but Paramatma, what will be your approach? And when we say the entire creation is nothing but Paramatma, in that creation you are also included. Your body is also included. Your breath, your mind, your intellect. Everything is included. Not only that part is the creation and this is me. No, this is also part of creation. Then what will you desire? This is the foundation principle of Vedanta. Keep contemplating on it. And in this way, by this Paramatma, which is our Pratyag Atmataya, which is our essential nature, Tena Swena Rupena Atmana Isha Vasyam Achadaniyam. See, what does it say? It says that Vasyam, that by his naturally, not by an effort, naturally, Naturally it covers everything, just like naturally the water is covering every wave. Naturally the gold is covering every ornament. Naturally the mud is covering every pot. See, nothing has to be done, it is that way. That effortlessly, that elegantly, this Paramatma is covering. Vasyam is covering. Is cover. No, Vasya means what you call. We'll tell what it is. Achhadana means covering. Achhadana means covering. So here he says that the Vasya, one of the Vas also means to live. And Vas also means here, Adi Shankaracharya is saying, Achhadanataya. That it also means as a covering. And if you think it in this manner, then when this is taken as that way, then what is our disposition? That we forget. What is our disposition? We don't see the Isha, we don't see the Paramatma, we don't see the reality, we don't see the self. Then what do we give more importance to? We give importance to ignorance. What is the how do you say that we are giving importance to ignorance? I don't know the self. I have to realize the self. If this thought is going on in your head, that I am not qualified, it will take time, it is very difficult, it is this, it is that, all excuse. Where is our attention? Not on the self. Our attention is on ignorance. Then secondly, that it covers, Vasyam also covering, it covers, positively speaking, it covers everything. The Paramatma covers everything, and when your attention is on that principle which is covering everything, then your attention will go away from names and forms and the differences. Think, I have given you this example many times. Our eyes are illuminating forms. When your attention is on what is that principle which is illuminating the infinite forms that are continuously coming towards the eyes. Oh, without the eyes I cannot see the forms. Oh, can I see the eyes myself? I am seeing the forms, but can I see the eye myself? The moment I try to see my own eyes, with my own eyes, not in a mirror, with my own eyes, that means my vision, which is extroverted, becomes, it tries to look at its own source. And if you try that with eyes open, all the forms will start merging into a soup. They will go away. You will not cognize any form. See? Now, same way, when we seek out the self, not as a concept, not as an idea, when we have a disposition that this Paramatma, this Atma is covering everything. From where? From within. He is the controller of everything. He is controlling this body also. From inside. He is controlling everything in this creation from inside and outside. And he is the material. And I can't come to a conclusion. I have to keep thinking about it. Then what will happen? My attention will be weaned away from all distractions. All multiplicity will dissolve. because my attention is on that unifying principle which is the creator as well as the material of the total creation. And for this, what do I have to do? I have to do bhavana. So therefore, third point, everything as well as myself is nothing but Paramatma. Is nothing, everything plus this me is nothing but the infinite reality. Our attention has to be on the infinite reality. Don't cut yourself out as an individual and start thinking that I am going to reach the reality. No, here straight away, first verse itself, they understand that you are not accepting it, but they are saying do the bhavana, do have the feeling, have the faith that if Upanishads are, what are the scriptures going to gain by giving you this vision? They only want your benefit. They want you to know yourself as you are, not as you imagine yourself to be. See? So in other words, scriptures are telling the wave, hey wave, you have to think about that material, that reality called water, which is the creator of all the waves, that is the world of waves, and it is the material which has gone into all the waves. You see? And the wave says, no, it is very difficult. How can I do bhavana? Do the bhavana. Have faith. Start thinking. Start contemplating. Our position in our daily living is such that we always find how it cannot be done. Our approach should be, if scriptures are saying this is the conclusion, Ishavasam idagam sarvam yat kincha jagatyam jagat. Now, my approach should be, if Upanishads are saying it, then how do I bring it about as, how do I bring myself to this conclusion? Not how it is so difficult to get to this conclusion. Then we are giving more importance to the ignorance. See? Fourth point is that you yourself are everything. Because that Brahman, that Isha, that controller is not other than the Atma. He himself said, Pratyag Atmataya, that I am the Atma in everything. I am the Atma, I control by being the Atma in and through everything. So, that infinite controller is expressing in this body as the Atma, and he is the material out of which the body has been made, and he is controlling himself. So now what is your approach? That if you are none other than infinite controller in essence, then I am everything. There is nothing, remember, accept everything, reject nothing, retain nothing. Accept everything, I am everything. Have the bhavana, have faith that this conclusion I must come to. This is called moksha. This is called moksha, where there is no sense of otherness left, even an iota, not even a little bit, not even 0.00001%. And when, remember, where do work? For a relationship, what do you require? For relationship, you require someone to be other than yourself. Then you can create a relationship, that he is my husband, she is my wife, this is my son, this is my parent, this is my guru, this is my book, this is my house, this is my car. My. You create a relationship. Now, if you take this approach, where you are everything, what will you call as mine? What will you call as mine? Everything is included in the definition of I. And that is pure love. When everything is included in the definition of I, that is transcendental love. Whom do you love? Your children, your parents, your husband, your friends, your colleagues, your grandchildren. Why? My grandchildren. Did you give birth to the grandchildren? No, but I gave birth to my daughter or son and their children. But then I have extended myself through my children all the way to grandchildren and great grandchildren. Therefore, they are mine. And therefore, I love them. And if they don't call me, if they don't come to me, if they try to stay away from me, then I feel sad. Then I'm happy looking only at the photographs that I have. That's pathetic existence. But if I take this position that this entire creation is not other than the self that I am, so I is pervading the entire body, therefore I don't have a desire for any part of the body, isn't it? I don't have a desire. Anything that is included in the definition of I, we don't have desire. You can have desire only for that which is separate from you. And if that I includes the entire creation, then will you have a desire for anything in this world? Tena tyaktena bhunjithaha. Tena tyaktena. That is tena tyaktena. So, in other words, you have given up your previous approach to life, or your present previous approach, and now the new approach is that I, the Isha, the infinite reality, is expressing as the Atma, as the self, and is controlling the entire creation. And that reality is not other than that I am, is not other than me. That reality I am. Because the material is also Isha and the Atma is also Isha. So how can, if both are same, the creator and the created are made up of the same material, then how can there be two? It will be the same. But here I am having a difference. I am life, I am living. This body is inert, body is changing. See? And the reason is we don't consider this body to be made out of the material called divinity, called reality. See? Now this has to be not only with regards to this body, entire creation. And when I say entire creation, not only the waking world, waking, dream, deep sleep, everything pervaded. Then there will be no desire. We will talk about it, and as the verses come about, it will go more, we'll open the topic up again. This is just introduction to the text. Therefore, when we live in this world with this vision, that we are of the nature of Paramatma, And so we cover everything with this Paramatma, meaning we put our attention on the foundation, on the substratum, on the Atma Tattva, the essence that we are, and in this manner, and we don't get obsessed with name and form. When we do once, sometime in the future, we'll do a text called Druk Drushya Vivek. In that it is told, Asti Bhati Asti Bhati Priya Nama Roop. This is the definition of the creation. That creation is the Asti is, Bhati is known, Priya it is dear to me, and Namaru, and it has a name and form. Out of these five, the three Asti Bhati Priya are in relation to the Atma, Satchitananda, and Nama Roop, name and form, is with regards to the creation. A different approach, but I'm just telling, bringing this point. And therefore, when we see that everything is pervaded, then our obsession with name and form. And where does the obsession with name and form begin from? It begins with this body. Who are you essentially? Everything. And what have you considered yourself to be? Only this body. If you are wearing one size small shoe and moving around, you will have a funny walk. You will walk like that catwalk. In this shoe of the body, the infinite reality has been made to put this shoe of body. How uncomfortable it will be. That uncomfortableness every being is experiencing, knowingly or unknowingly. Human beings have a choice not to suffer in that manner. One philosophy says everything is dukkham, 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 dukkham. No, we do not say it is dukkham. We say Paramatma is Satchidanand Swarup. Everything in this creation is Satchidanand Swarup. Existence, consciousness, bliss. It is all bliss. But you have to develop that vision. It will not come by fluke. It will not come by copying. It will not come by someone putting their hand on your head. It will not come by merely doing the moving the lamp in front of a Lord statue. It has to be a subjective approach. Only then it can happen. Kim, now he asks, what is to be covered? So he says, idam sarvam yat kincha jagatyam prithivyam jagat tat sarvam swena atmana ishena pratyagatmataya aham eva idam sarvamiti paramartha satya rupena anrutamidam sarvam chara acharam achhadaniyam swena paramatmana. So what is covered by the Paramatma? Now he is explaining again. Idam sarvam. See, idam means what? Aham. Remember that one reality alone in Amrita Anubhav we saw. The one Paramatma expressing out of his own free will as Shiva Shakti. At the individual level, in the mind, he expresses as aham idam. Aham means I, idam means everything other than I. Right? So what is he covering? So in the first paragraph, we have worked out who is this aham. Aham is that all pervasive principle. I am everything. Now, what is this Isha covering? Achadaniya, Vasyam, what is it covering? What is all that which is covering? Idam. Everything other than the I. What is other than the I? Anything, all the names and forms, all the thoughts, all the concepts, all the ideas, all the past, all the future, all the waking, dream, deep sleep. List goes on and on. Because if there is only I, then you don't need to think of I. I appears as I as a thought only when it is interacting with something else. So here idam means everything other than I. So what is to be covered? Kim idam sarvam yat kincha jagatyam prithivyam jagat sarvam. The entire universe, the entire earth, everything is covered by it. And therefore, nothing is excluded. There is no secret escape latch. It is covering everything. And if it is covering everything, then conclusion will be, I alone am everything. How can be I everything? The Isha is covering everything and I have to realize the Isha. Are you stupid? He is covering you also. You are also part of that everything. This body is also part of everything. Don't you know the body as idam? You say, I am the body. I am thinking. I am making a decision. I am waking. I am dreaming. Or I had a dream. So everything, whatever this I is interacting with, that is idam. So it is not that the reality is covering the entire creation and it is not covering this body and this mind and this intellect. This body, breath, mind, intellect or gross body, subtle body, causal body is also interacted, is also known to the I. I is thinking about it as idam. This is also covered by that same reality. So first we establish the I, now we establish the idam. And when both of them are made up of the same material, same reality, then I alone am everything. Then everything is covered by the reality and I am not covered by the reality. This difference will not be there. This difference comes when you follow Sankhya Yoga, not Vedanta. That I am realized and other world is still stupid, they are not realized. So I take a higher position. So come, touch my feet, get blessings. Come, I'll initiate you, I'll give you mantra. In Vedanta there is no initiation. There is no initiation in Vedanta. All that drama is cut loose, straight to the center. See? So therefore, I alone am everything and I alone am that. That meaning idam. So here, idam sarvam yat kincha jagatyam jagat prithivyam jagat sarvam svena atmana ishena pratyag atmataya aham eva idam sarvam iti. So here he says that that whatever is that Svena Atmana Ishena Pratyagatmataya Aham Eva Idam Sarvamiti Parmartha Satya Rupena. So that that this whatever is created in this creation, whatever is created by me, how has it been created? It has been created out of love, because we are talking from the all inclusive principle point of view. It has been created out of love and care. we can put that. No mother creates a child with hatred. It's out of love and care and nourishment. So when I accept the whole world as myself, Svena Atmana Ishana Pratyagatmataya, when I accept the whole world Pratyagatmataya as the self, then question is, then will there be anyone who is miserable? Will there be anyone who is troubled? Will there be anyone who is restless? Because everything is included Atmataya. Everything has been included in the definition of I. When everything is included in the definition of I, the sense of difference vanishes. Sense of otherness vanishes. Where there is no sense of otherness, then there is no desire for that. The process is, when there is sense of otherness, if I am separate to you, then I like you because you smile and I don't like you because you don't smile. Then those likes and dislikes, they precipitate in my subconscious as impressions. And those impressions, next time you come in front of me, they will pop up. And they'll say, oh, I like this person, I don't want to be with this person. I like this person, I want to be with this person. Desire. Desire to be with or desire not to be with. See? But when everything is included in the definition of I, there is no other. And when there is no other, then there is no precipitation of likes and dislikes, raga dvesh. When there is no raga dvesh, then there is no retention, there is no there is no retention, there is no memory created, because you are not interacting with likes and dislikes, and therefore no desire. After some time, it will all dissolve away. See? Understand the principle which we are telling and try to put it in your practice on a daily basis. And in this way, that I alone am expressing as the multiplicity. Right now, we have a feeling that the world is too big. Government is like this, war is like this, disease is like there, corona is there, wars are going on the border. What will happen? When will the lockdown open up? What will happen to this country where we are? What will happen to the world? What will happen to the stock market? Why we are thinking like this? Because we think the world is separate to us. That's why the worry. But when it is included, this whole expanse is expression, is included in the self. The self alone is pervading everything. Not only intellectually, you have to do bhavna. You can come to the conclusion of this statement that I alone am covering everything, or I am alone am pervading everything, when your attention is on the self. If your attention is on multiplicity, you can never come to this conclusion that I am pervading everything. So here he says, Sarvamiti Paramartha Satya Rupena Anrutamidam Sarvam Charam Chara Achara Achadaniyam Swena Paramatmana. So in this way, he says that all this world, understand, in essence is nothing but the Isha, the reality, the names and forms which are creating the distinction of every object in this creation are mithya, are imaginary, are existing in their own absence. The material which has gone into the creation is the self, but we are not seeing the self, we are not seeing the reality, we are seeing the forms, and our obsession with the form is creating this disintegration of our personality. And therefore he says, and obsession with this form and name is what invokes the desire within us, is what precipitates in likes and dislikes, and we want to get out of all that. We have done that enough throughout our life. Let's change the tact a little bit. Let's change the angle of approach a little bit. And that approach will be accepted as it is given here only when, remember, if we are desiring to liberate, if we have got no axe to grind in this world. And in this way, see, wherever Sat and Chit are considered to be one, there is love, there is Ananda. So I am, and whatever I know is also nothing but I. The I, Sat, is also Sat. Then there will be eternal, unconditional, continuous love. Then there is no hatred, there is no dislike, no dvesh, no raga, no dvesh. Dislike is dvesh, rag is like. And in this manner, in such a person, when he includes everything in the definition of the I, or sees the I pervading the entire creation, the love manifests in that bosom, in that heart, in that mind, and in this way so see, with regards to your husband, your wife, your children, they are mine and I am theirs. And they are a part of me and I am a part of them. That is why the relationship is continuing. When that stops, divorce. So what is happening? There are two things. What is that? One is the aham, ahanta, I, and the other is mamata. With regards to relations, the ahanta and mamata, for many people, it becomes one. Mamata is included in the ahanta. Means they are mine and I am theirs. Both merge. But when it regards the world, as regards the world, I like the world, I desire for the world, but I don't love the world, because it is not included in the definition of I. Before marriage, that husband or wife or man or woman were separate. There was nobody knew who is she and who is he. Then the marriage patrika came, and then this I don't know how it will come out, how will it happen. Anyway, I have got no choice. My parents decide, and then because of the tradition, because of the culture, because of the samskaras, cultural values, you accept. And after that there is no desire for the other person, because he is already yours or she is already yours. You don't desire your child. That child is already yours. And therefore unconditional love towards that child. When we have this type of disposition towards the entire creation, that this whole creation is mine and I am pervading the entire creation, then this is the covering that we are talking about. Remember Achhadaniyam, here it says Chara Achara. Chara means moving and unmoving. Body is unmoving, Atma is moving, if you take it that way, or the other way around. Atma is unmoving and the body is changing. Childhood, teenage, youth, middle age, old age, it's changing. But I am pervading both, the moving and the unmoving. I am covering both or pervading both. And in this way, Yatha, now example is given in the third paragraph. Yatha Chandana Aguru, Yatha Chandana Agarvaderu Dakadi Sambandha Jakledadi Jakledadijam Aupadhikam Daurgandhyam Tat Swarupa Nirgharshanena Achhadyate Swena Paramarthikena Gandhena. So what is told here? That the example taken is that of a sandalwood, and this sandalwood has a unique thing. You must have all, if you are doing puja on a daily basis, you will see that when you wet the sandalwood stick, wood, in water, dirty, not a very nice smell comes out of it. But once you start rubbing it, then fragrance starts coming out. And when you dry it, even more fragrance comes out. Same way, here it is told that so, and where is the fragrance? Is it coming from outside? No. It is inherent within the sandalwood. The fragrance is inherent within the sandalwood. It has not come from outside. It has not been superimposed from outside. It has not been introduced from outside. That which was already there has become manifest. Another example which Jnaneshwar Maharaj gives is that of the fire. In the wood, fire is already there. You rub two sticks together, or the two stones together, or two sticks together. Like the aborigines, the one cup down and one cup up and one stick in between, and you keep churning away, and the heat generated wood catches fire. So that heat was inherent within the wood. Similarly, the fragrance is inherent within the sandalwood, but it only comes out in contact when it is in contact with water. Just like by itself, it may not have that much of fragrance, but when it comes in contact with water, when it is rubbed with water, then the fragrance starts coming out. Initially it starts stinking. Initially when you are rubbing it with water, it starts stinking, and when it is allowed to dry a little bit, then the fragrance emanates again. Same way, exactly the same way. Here he says, uh, दौर्गन्ध्यम तत्स्वरूप निर्घर्षणेन आच्छाद्यते स्वेन परमार्थिकेन गंधेन. Same way, this Jeev Jagat Ishwar is also, this Jeev Jagat Ishwar is covering that one reality, and when proper enquiry is initiated, just like we are initiating this enquiry through this Upanishad with the first verse. And what is this enquiry? We are making ourselves think in a different way, that we are essentially that reality, and we are the creator of this experience of this universe, and we are the material out of which this whole universe has been made. See? Which is contrary to your conclusion that this world was there before you came, and this world will continue after you go away. Which is contrary to that the self is inside this body, the mind is inside the body, the breath is inside the body. No. Body is in the breath, breath is in the mind is in the intellect, intellect is in the life, life is in the Atma. Each step more pervasive than the previous one. But our vision is completely inverted. See? To correct this vision, when we have a problem with our eyes, we don't go and change the eye, do we? The physical eyes. Come, give me your eye. You can see full. Okay, I take his eye and put it. No. We have to only adjust the focal length. That's all. For that, I am wearing these glasses. And the moment if I take these glasses out, I can't read anything. Then I'll do Bhajan Kirtan. But the moment I wear the glasses, everything is crystal clear. Each word is available to me. So, we have a cataract when we are looking at this world. Or cataract or wrong focal length. We have to adjust that focal length. And that adjustment of focal length is done by the scriptures. And that is what is taking place right now. Adjustment of our focal length. Our approach with the present eye, we are seeing distortion, or we are seeing nothing. Adjustment of the focal length, everything is crystal clear. So when we see the world through the eyes of the scriptures, eyes of the Upanishads, then everything becomes crystal clear. And what is that crystal clarity? No doubts are left. No ends are left undone. It's a wholesome experience. Ishavasya sarvam yat kincha jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena. This is where we are right now. Is it? No, we are still at Vasyam. Tena tyaktena will come afterwards. Then तद्वद एव हि स्वात्मनि अध्यस्तं स्वाभाविकं कर्तृत्व भोक्तृत्व आदि लक्षणं जगद्द्वैत रूपं जगत्यां पृथिव्यामः जगत्याम् इति उपलक्षणार्थत्वात् सर्वम् एव नाम रूप कर्माख्यं विकारजातं परमार्थ सत्य आत्मभावनया त्यक्तं स्यात्. So what is he saying? That that uh, uh, that just by initiating this inquiry into the into this into this reality, as we are doing it here, then we will be able to know the reality as the fragrance comes out when we rub wet sandalwood. So when the sandalwood is rubbed and dried, the fragrance comes. When we initiate the inquiry in this manner, we apply the mind again and again to the all pervasive principle, not to the names and forms, not to the world. To our attention is on that principle which is covering, expressing in and through the entire world. Now don't look at, again I am repeating this, don't look at the world and try to suss out the reality there. Immediately this example must come in your mind. I want to go to the source. Source is not out there, even though it is pervading the idam, but I cannot catch it there because too much variety there. I will get lost. Then where can I catch it? Oh, that reality is expressing as the controller within, as the I. Okay, this is more close to me. That is not close to me at this moment as a seeker. So let me approach that which is the closest. Oh, so this reality is pervading my body, but body also has got so many limbs, so many senses. Oh, body is the breath. Breath is also going in and out. The reality is also the mind. Mind is also having so many thoughts. Let me go to the source of the thoughts. Let me go to the source of the mind. Let me go to the source of life itself. Because that I am living, I am life. Life has not been introduced into me. I am life. I am alive at this moment. What is its source? That is the closer than the closest. That is where I can apply myself. I can't apply myself out there. When I try to apply myself out there, then friction, then reaction. And there will be, and then suddenly we lose the plot. But when I am approaching myself by myself, uddharet atmanatmanam, natmanam avasadayet. When I am raising myself, contemplating on myself, by myself, in myself, then nothing in this world matters. And as I become more focused, then body also doesn't matter. Then breath also doesn't matter. Then thoughts also don't matter. Then samadhi also doesn't matter. These are stages. Then waking, dream, deep sleep don't matter. I transcend everything. But this is all only possible when I am genuinely available to myself. So here he says that everything. So here when he says that तद्वद एव ही स्वात्मने अध्यस्तम स्वाभाविकम कर्तृत्व भोक्तृत्वादि लक्षणम जगद्वैत रूपम जगत्याम पृथिव्याम जगत्यामिति उपलक्षणार्थत्वात्. So what is that? Right now I consider myself to be the doer. I consider myself to be the enjoyer. I consider the world to be real. I consider Adi Lakranam, and I consider the duality to be the norm. All this is my present condition, isn't it? All this is covered by the self that I am. Without the self, all these cannot express. The material that has gone into these is the self. The creator also is the self. You are not all the time the doer. Kartrutva Abhiman, you say, I am the doer. I have made my own life. In sleep, what did you do, man? Did you make the sleep? Did you make the dream? What arrogance that I made my own life. I am a self-made man. Until I don't do anything, nothing happens in life. Are you making your body grow old? Are you making the hunger happen? Are you making your hair grow? Are you making your heart beat? Why these wrong conclusions? But when we consider ourselves to be the body, I am. So all this sense, this kartrutva, bhoktrutva, relationships, and what else? And the dvaita, the duality, the multiplicity of names and forms, everything is rejected, and that one essence, the self, is focused upon and accepted as I. The source is I. Now, what is this I? Where is this I? What is its true nature? That is secondary. First, accept that this I is the source of everything. Without this I, even a thought cannot arise in your mind. Without this I, breath will not happen. Without this I, body will not be there. Without this I, the waking dream and deep sleep will not be there. So first accept that the most important, this is the inquiry that we are talking about, that the most important thing to contemplate upon is this I. And then it is told that so then it says tena tyaktena bhunjithaha. And when we contemplate on this I, when we are focused on this I, when we are centered in poise with this I, to that extent our obsession with everything else is rejected. Doership is rejected, enjoyership is rejected, world is rejected, duality is rejected, relationships are rejected, possessions are rejected, body is rejected, memories are rejected, expectations are rejected. Why? You are not rejecting it. They fall away on the wayside. Why? Your focus is, who is this I? This I is the all-pervading principle. This I is the point from where that Isha is expressing. He alone is the self within. What does it mean to be that? So here it says that Atma Bhavanaya. So feel this way. Bring yourself to be disposed in this manner. हो भी गया इतनी जल्दी टाइम. So we have reached tena tyaktena bhunjitaha. Now the next part will be Jagadvaita Rupam Jagatyam Prithivayam. Now next time we will see Jagatyam iti upalakshanarthatvat sarvameva. So Jagatyam we have to start from next week class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Just sit quietly for a minute or half a minute. Hari Om everyone.